happening right at the moment when the child is being born.
Okay.
So those ones, we call them their genetic problems. Now there are quite a number of other things that are acquired. There are problems that happen. So we talk about what happens during pregnancy, pregnancy of the child. It's very important that the woman who is pregnant remains healthy all through pregnancy period. It's not advisable for pregnant women to use drugs that are not prescribed by doctors. And when a woman is ill during pregnancy, supposed to go to the hospital for treatment, because sometimes you just feel it's nothing serious, but the child is already being affected. Also, when a woman goes into labor, those are very critical moments that will determine how healthy the child is going to turn out. So we don't want a woman to be in labor for too long. So prolonged labor, it's one major factor that can affect the child's development. We don't want the child to be born and it's weak or it's not crying. So usually we always ask, did he cry immediately he was born? That is very key because it shows the child is healthy, it's coming out, healthy. Sometimes when they are born, almost like about 2-3 days, they might develop what's known as jaundice. Jaundice is when they have yellowness in the eyes. That is really very dangerous to the brain of the child. So we don't want the child to develop jaundice. And if they do, we want prompt intervention and treatment. Sometimes they might start to have what is known as seizures or what we call convulsions at those early period from different causes. That also is not what we want. We want the child to be free of all these problems immediately after, because the brain is still very tender. So any little insult can put a permanent damage to the brain, and then it can then affect the child when it is time to achieve milestones and so on. If they don't want it to have fever, want it to have adequate food. So all these things are very important. Sometimes when there's trauma to the brain, whether from fall or some kind of accident, that can affect the development of the child. But generally, most children with cerebral palsy usually will have one history of either prolonged labor or jaundice, later after birth, or some kind of fever, and so on. As a matter of fact, there are sometimes that children already achieve certain milestones, and then they develop what's known as maybe meningitis or cerebral malaria, and then they lose all those milestones. So anything that is not working the way it should with the child, it should be promptly attended to. You shouldn't take it for granted and say, oh, it's a fever. It's going to be fine. So these are
when you get to say, take time to do this, do that, and then
they're really not the best.
They're really not the best. Yes, thank you. And you forgot to add age.
Yes, the age of the parent.
The age of the parent.
Absolutely.
Is it the mother now or both?
Both of them. For Down syndrome, we're worried about the age of the mother because usually we talk about when mothers are above the age of 40, the risk becomes higher. For disorders like autism, we talk about the age of the father. So it's both. So the best period for people to have their children is between 25, 35, maximum 40. I mean, we have people who have children way after that and children are fine, but the risk and the odds becomes really higher after the age of 40 for both.
So I'm going to go back to your home because I mean that was like high influence for you. Yes. And I do remember the particular incidents, and I want to talk about love and affection like this. What role does it play? I remember there was a time the kids were asked to dance, and they started playing music, and I remember this particular boy was confined to the wheelchair. Apparently, looking at him, he had, was severely impaired and infant. And then he started jumping. He jumped up. It was almost as if, in fact, at some point, I was really scared. I was like, oh, this boy is going to walk. And that boy will walk one day. Because he was so eager to jump out of that wheelchair. And I remember the mom coming, behind, rubbing his back and all of that. That was really, 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 really emotional. And at some point, I was like, wow, it takes a lot of love, affection, love to care and be committed and dedicated to the care of these children. So I want to ask, for parents like that, what are the available for them, because they are not, the kids are not the only ones who need support. Even parents who care for such children should get support.
Absolutely. The burden of care for children with disabilities is quite huge. Generally, looking after children is a huge task. Now, when you don't have a child with a disability, it becomes multiple folds, and it takes a process for a parent to accept, because it's a very key point for a parent to get to accept that my child has a disability. There's a lot of denial, anger, frustration that goes on when a child is diagnosed with a disability, understandably, because you were expecting to have a perfect child, you have all your aspiration and your hope and everything, and then suddenly it seems as if it's not going to happen. So there's a tendency for a parent to be angry. They refuse to say, I'm going to accept that my child has a disability. So at the point where they are not accepting, what will likely happen is that they go after the wrong things. So they are looking for quick fix, they're looking for miracles, they are looking for, which it's fine. I mean, miracles do happen. But at some point, there should be some degree of acceptance to say, okay, maybe this child is a bit different from these other children. What are the things that we need to do? So when they get to that point in themselves and they begin to explore the possibilities around, it might not be like a lot of possibilities, but there are possibilities and opportunities for children with disabilities. And then they begin to work on themselves, begin to educate themselves about the disability. Because if you haven't accepted something, you're not likely to want to know about it. So once they got to the point to say, okay, I think there's something that is not okay with my child, I want to know more about it. So a coping mechanism is for a parent to have a lot of knowledge about what is wrong with the child, because that is going to help you. Yes, your energy is going to help you to know what to do, even in the midst of scarcity of all these interventions. There's a lot that parents can do. So once you get to that place, you know that what parents will realize is that they are a lot better. They are able to help themselves more, help the children more, and even offer a lot of advocacy support for their children. They're able to speak out, they're able to ask for the things that are necessary for the children. They're able to engage the government, engage in the process of just trying to see what they can do to help their children. So a coping mechanism for them to at some point accept, seek knowledge, and then explore what is available, and then have realistic expectations.
Yes.
Realistic expectations. Show as much love as possible, show as much dedication as possible, spend as much money as reasonably possible as they possible. But at the point where they are doing all of that, they have to have realistic. Where they are hoping that as maybe someday the child is not able to work for himself or herself. So these are some of the things that are important. So the love has to come, it has to come from them first to themselves, and then they can extend to the children. And at some point, so the children I've seen that have done well the most are those who have parents who are working together. That's a very key factor when it comes to the outcome of how a child will turn out. Parents, especially if they are still together, once they are working together, it's usually very helpful because they are supporting each other, they are supporting themselves, and they are trying to see how best to help. Once there's a discord or there's some kind of strain in the marriage, it's going to affect the child negatively.
How often do you see that? I know most times men run away.
A lot. The men, most of the time, I mean, not to be biased, but most of the time, it's the woman that is left with the child. The man is either married or, sometimes it's actually out of pressure from family members to say, oh, are you going to just sit with this child for the rest of your life? Are you not going to go get another child? And so on and so forth. So they yield to pressure and then they go get another wife and they have other other children, and then this woman is stuck with this child in anger, in frustration, and so on. As a matter of fact, if it's just with the single parent that a child has, and the parent is at peace with himself or with herself, it reflects on the progress of the child. Yes, so
it doesn't matter
if they are two or one. Once the parent has gotten to the point of maybe not happy, but I understand
what's going on,
and I'm ready to just give all that I can.
It's more of a spiritual awakening for me, as far as I'm concerned. You need to know why this child has been given to you. I mean, why this child has come to you.
And one other point is that sometimes, even after all of this, they might still need some kind of mental health support. Some of them might have depression, they might have sleep problems, they might not even be able to eat, so they might need to be attended to by a professional just at that moment for them to settle, and then they can continue with the journey. There's actually a journey, and surely a very long journey for parents.
Oftentimes, when I see these kids, I want to ask, if we're talking about the success they got and the chances of them, succeeding, what is success?
Okay, so because there are different aspects to life, we, as much as possible, we want them to be able to do what they love to do, to exist, what they enjoy. It doesn't matter how small or how limited or how big it is. And many of them have different kinds of talents that can be explored. There are some, majority of them will struggle with school, academic work, learning and all of that. But there are quite a lot of other things that they can do. Some of them are quite good with music. Either they can sing, or they can play keyboard, or they can dance. You know, I have a boy who is a very fantastic dancer.
Yes. I think I saw him that day.
So they can explore that and just help them to be able to make a living out of that. Because we are only able to do one or two things in life. I mean, all of us, it doesn't matter how intelligent we are, then at some point we are just doing one thing that we love to do. So we help them to, some of them are good with drawing, so they draw abstract things, and we help them to see how we can get this.
So to speak, you try to develop what talent they have.
So we have them in different categories. We have some girls who are able to do makeup, they can tie a wig, they can make beads, they can make hair. You know, maybe not as perfect as the professionals would do, but they're able to do what is meaningful and what can give some kind of income. Some of them might just be like, we want to train them to be able to work under supervision, maybe in an office, or some kind of office assistant that they can, work and earn some money. So there are quite a number of things that they can. Some of them are good with sports. They're just able to run. They have a lot of energy. Once you're able to direct that energy, it's just going to be useful for them.
So very quickly, in conclusion, I want to ask: you have a boarding facility?
Yes.
So parents can actually bring their children to your boarding. I want you to talk about your home.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So it's a place where we try to, as much as possible, help children with special needs or disabilities to live a meaningful life as much as possible, and then to be able to support families, especially the parents and the siblings, to have some kind of what is known as respite. You can imagine if you have a child. In fact, sometimes if you have a child who's, we call them neurotypical, they're developing normally, they don't have disabilities. Sometimes you just want to have some space, because they are just all over the place and in your face. Not talk of a child with disability. So sometimes parents will need that gap to recoup. So they want to. So the home will do that. Also, it's available to do that. So we have day school and boarding school. Day school means you bring the child in the morning and then you pick up in the evening. So in the space of when you drop and pick up, they receive the different kinds of therapy that is needed. So some of them will need physiotherapy, some will need speech and language therapy, some will need what is known as occupational therapy. Occupational therapy is the therapy that teaches how to be able to do things for ourselves, to feed ourselves, to use the bathroom, to be able, it's interesting that you have to teach a child how to eat. We do that. So it's teach them how to feed themselves. We want you to feed them like all through life. So when we know that it is possible if you teach. So there's occupational therapy, there's physiotherapy for those children, especially those ones with cerebral palsy. We have special educational support for children because as much as possible, we still want them to be able to read simple sentences, be able to identify money, exchange money. So we do that in the context of special educational support. We also have boarding facility where children stay in the hostel. For example, those parents who are not able to be bringing the money and pick in the evening, maybe because of their job or because of distance, we also have a facility for them. So they live with us, we have carers with them 24 hours, and then they also come from the hostel, they come to class in the morning and then they return to the hostel. So we provide, of course, because they're in the hostel, there's the advantage of continuation of what we do during the day in terms of helping them to be able to do things for themselves. So that basically is what the goal is about. We also do some kind of training. People want to have some form of training in terms of understanding what children with disabilities are. We have that for them. We have volunteering slots, and then we have some kind of internship slot opportunities for students who are towing that path of working with children. Okay, so it's at
the name of the school location.
Yeah, so the name is the Center for Early Development Learning and Care. We call it CEDLAC for short. So it's at number 7 Lamumi Close, off the Life Road, Ashi, in Ibadan.
Okay, please can you repeat the address?
Number 7 Lamumi Close, off the Life Road, Ashi.
So in conclusion, do you have anything to add to what you said?
Just to say that children with disabilities or special needs do get better. That I can say with all seriousness.
Yes. And I can testify to that because I've seen firsthand.
So parents should bring them out, let them enjoy what is available in our setting.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Adedi, for having us, for coming on the show, brother. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Yes, you've all heard from Dr. Mrs. Adedi, and from all she has said to us, you would agree with me that it is not the disabilities that count, but the abilities of the child. Don't look down on the child, okay? No matter what it is the child is going through, passing through, they can always get better. She has said that to us. And I mean, I believe that, I've seen that, and I can testify to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.